guys, it's me, Ada Canada. Welcome back to my channel. The agenda for today is to talk about scholarships. A lot of people, when they think about Canada, they think about how expensive it is to get education here, but at the same time, I do want to say that in as much as it is expensive, there are scholarships that are available. The only problem is that a lot of people don't know that there are scholarships available. I'm just going to be talking about tips, things that you need to know, what you need to do in order to increase your chances of getting a scholarship. The first way to guarantee your chances of winning a scholarship is to plan ahead of time. I have been singing this many times. Anytime I'm talking about anything that concerns Canada, whether it's for school or whether it's for permanent residency, planning is important. Planning is like one of the most important steps, right? It's one of the things that you need to do to make sure that you are ahead of the game. If you really want something, then you're going to do what it takes to get it, and part of the process of doing what it takes to ensure that you win it is to create a plan, map out a plan, like figure out what kind of scholarships are there, right? This is where you get to do your own research. So what kind of scholarships are there? Like, what do you want to apply for? What are you looking out for in a scholarship? Figure out when do applications open for scholarships, figure out what the requirements are, figure out like what do you need in order to succeed, what do you need in order to stand out, when is the application closing. Just generally just create a plan and plan ahead, right? Because if a scholarship started and the deadline is going to be, for example, 30th of June, for example, you don't want to be in a situation where you're scrambling for time. It helps you to stay organized. Planning will help you to know what you're doing. The second way to guarantee your success at winning a scholarship would be to do your own research. It's called DYOR. Browse schools out, figure out what kind of scholarships are available. There are so many of them. Figure out like which ones are specific to your country, which ones do your school offer, like are there any external scholarship. Every single school has a section dedicated to tuition, finances, scholarships, financial aid, and all of those things. So explore that section. How does it apply to you? You want to try to keep abreast of things, try to keep abreast of what's going on with respect to the scholarship or what's going on with respect to your school. You can always send emails, find out like the contact information that you can send an email to ask questions if you don't understand. Do your own research so that good opportunities don't pass you by. The third tip is to understand the scholarship requirements. Now, every scholarship has individual requirements, right? And the requirements are the things that they use to sieve out applications that meet the requirements and applications that do not meet the requirements. So like when you're doing your research, when you're applying for the scholarships, you want to make sure that you are applying for things that you actually qualify for. And I've said this before in one of my previous videos. Don't just research or apply blindly. Make sure that you are meeting with the requirement, because one thing with Canada generally is if you're applying for something and you don't meet up with any one of the requirements, even if it's just one, you're not going to get considered. That's just a plain truth about it. So understand what the requirements are. If the requirements say, for example, that they want applicants between the ages of 20 and 29, if you are 30 or 31, there's no point applying because you're not going to get considered, right? They have a reason for asking for applicants from between those age ranges, and if they select you, they're probably going to ask for proof that you are within those age range. You're applying for a scholarship and they want people from high school and you know you're way past the level of high school, there's no point applying for it because it doesn't apply to you. If you're applying for a scholarship where they say, oh, it's supposed to be for bachelor's or master's degrees, if you are looking for a PhD, there's just no point applying for that kind of scholarship because it doesn't apply to you. So basically just try to understand, and that's why it's important to read. It's important to make sure that you are doing your research properly so that you stay informed. Okay, so the next tip is don't forget about the smaller awards. Usually when a lot of people are applying for scholarships, they always look for the ones that are very big, have a very large amount. and they tend to neglect the ones that are smaller. For example, somebody might be applying for scholarship and they're browsing and they come across a scholarship that's maybe like worth $20,000, and they see a scholarship that's worth $4,000 or $2,000. They'll tend to like apply for scholarships that have that bigger amount of award that's attached to it and abandon the ones that have the smaller amount of award. It's not really a wise thing to do, because it's like you're trying to spread your nest out, you're trying to catch fish, right? When you're going fishing, for example, for those of you who go fishing, you cast your net out into the river. You don't just select, right? Because you're not inside the water to know, okay, is this where fish are concentrated or is this where fish are not concentrated? You're casting your net out with the hope that you're going to catch as many as possible that you need, right? So in as much as it's a good thing to look at scholarships that have a higher value, don't neglect the smaller ones, because you never know. You can apply for multiple scholarships at the same time. If you see a scholarship that has a $2,000 award attached to it, if you see another one that has a $4,000 award, another one that has a $5,000 award, apply to as many as you can, and you'll be surprised if you're the lucky winner. That means you get to win 3 scholarships: the one that's $5,000, the one that's $4,000, and the one that's $2,000, right? So that's $11,000 worth of scholarships that you've won. So like if you apply for the small ones, you have better chances, because if you win, it adds up to a big amount or a big award. $2,000 is a lot. $2,000 is an actual tuition for one semester for a permanent resident or a citizen here in this country. So $2,000 is a lot. $1,000 is a lot. Even if it's $500, guys, $500 is somebody's rent. It's something, right? It's better than nothing. When you go on LinkedIn, you see people who would make posts and say stuff about how they've gotten up to $1 million in scholarships. It's not one scholarship, it's so many different awards that add up to $1 million in scholarship. I mean, it's opportunity you're looking for, right? And it's money that you don't have to pay back. Don't be too selective. Apply for the smaller ones as much as you apply for the bigger ones. The next tip that I have would be reference letters. If you're applying for a scholarship and they're asking for reference letters, if they're asking for academic references, you can't go meet your friend and ask your friend to draft a letter of reference for you. Make sure that it's official. The person is basically supposed to recommend you. Make sure that the letters are original. Make sure the referee has their signature on it. Make sure that the information is not falsified. The next tip I have is look at the cheat sheets of every award, every scholarship award on their website. So what I mean by cheat sheet is, on every application, usually in the requirements section, or maybe the generally just in the section for scholarships, if you're applying, if you scroll down, there's usually a section of the scholarship that's written in very tiny writing. It's not the same font as the main information that you need, right? So that very tiny font bunch of information that's at the bottom of the page, it's usually titled as terms and conditions for the scholarship. Read that part of the scholarship just to ensure that you're not missing anything out. Make sure you're understanding it for what it is and not making your own assumptions. Make sure that those things that they are describing there applies to you in that sense of the word, so that you're not you're not just wasting your time applying for something that you won't even get considered for. Cover all your bases. The next tip is extra efforts. One thing with scholarship that you need to understand is that when you're applying for scholarship, whether you're applying for a scholarship inside of Canada or whether you are applying from outside of Canada, one thing you need to understand is that you're not the only person that is applying for that scholarship. So a scholarship might have only 20 awards. Just one scholarship will give out like 20 awards, 20 different amounts to 20 different people, and you have a situation where there are over 1,000 applications for that same scholarship. 1,000 people are trying to get one out of the 20 awards that the scholarship body is offering, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that there is high competition, and with high competition, you don't want to be just generic, right? You don't want your application to just be generic. You want your application to be able to stand out. You want to be able to offer more. You want to be able to show them that you have what it takes to be considered a winner. For example, get into volunteering, get into like community service, increases your chances. You want to make sure that it's not just your grades that are speaking for you. You have other things that speak for you. You have other things that make you just be like, wow, I deserve to win this scholarship. I deserve to be the winner because I have what it takes to win. One thing about Canada is they like this thing where you give back to the community, you serve the community. For example, going to the shelter homes and feeding them. There are organizations who do that. These are the things that make your application shine brighter than everyone else's. Do extracurricular activities. That's another important aspect of scholarship, right? So it's not just about you going to school and making all the A's in this world. If you're going to school and you're making all A's but you don't have anything else to speak for you, then it kind of puts a question mark on your application. But if you're like, you're doing well in school, you're also volunteering, and then you have extracurricular activities, for example music or dancing or just anything else that you're doing that really contributes and adds value, it's going to make you stand out. Another tip is to get creative. For example, there could be scholarships that are specific to people who play the piano, or people who are into theater, people who can dance, for example, or people who are like, it's just there are scholarships that are specific to certain field areas, or like certain things, for example music or theater or dance or something like that. If you are very good in any one of those areas, then you can seek out those scholarships, right? You can use it either as extracurricular activities, or you can use it to apply for a scholarship that's targeted specifically to those fields, right? So try to learn a skill that you know is going to help you, that you know is going to be very beneficial to you. And then the last part of this scholarship is to believe. So when you apply, just have faith, believe that you get it. As long as you have done your work, as long as you have done the research, you have planned, you have applied before the deadline, you have nothing to worry about. You just have to believe that you're going to get the scholarship. I just feel like it's not always all about the grades. That's one thing with scholarship. Grades are important, don't get me wrong. Do well, get all your A's. At the same time, just get involved in other things that can make you stand out and be a unique applicant that would win a scholarship. Alright guys, that's the end of today's video. Please like this video, share this video, comment in the comment section below, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, peace out.